And we are recording live from Artisan. This is Art Fusion, the art and music radio show, Saturday at noon, Talk 1260 AM, KTRC Santa Fe News Talk Leader. I'm Ron Whitmore, and we have two of my favorite people and a great show today. So I want to introduce Gigi Mills. Thank you, Gigi, for coming down here and being part of this show.
Thank you for having me, Ron.
And she's our visual artist. And we have Anna Rudolph as our musician. And I met Anna years ago back at the New Mexico Music Awards. We were sitting at the same table, became friends, shared some music, and I've been following her career on Facebook. She plays all over Albuquerque. Welcome, Anna.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Can you tell us about a song and maybe start us out with something?
I'd love to. The first song I was going to do is called Maybe in Montana.
Okay.
And I know you have the question.
What's happening in Montana? What's the maybe?
I have no idea.
Okay.
You can listen to the song and make up your own, come to your own conclusions about what's happening in Montana.
Are you from Montana?
I have been to Montana once when I was a child on a family vacation.
Okay.
I want to go back though.
Okay.
But that isn't really what the song is about.
I love Montana. I went up there for the Charlie Russell auction one time and just fell in love with all that big sky country up there.
Yeah, I've had this dream of going back to a dude ranch up there and just having a good week or two.
Nice.
Fly fishing, something.
Why don't you start us out and let us hear what we can visualize as maybe in Montana.
There were so many times, more than I can remember, more than just mine. Move on over, let me drive for a while. Look at the mountain snow, we'll put on some Lyle. I can't forgive you and I can't undo. I still want to find us something new. Maybe in Montana we can get away from all that has happened in our careless yesterdays. Is it way too late? Have I loved you too long to let you go? I loved you right. I loved you wrong. Let me see the white plane, let me see the sky. Feel the breeze in my face, stop asking why. Maybe if I get some sleep, a little something to eat, maybe I'll feel better. It won't hurt so deep. I'll always be yours and you'll always be mine. So we will compromise because of our lies. I'll always be yours and you'll always be the one I should have left behind when this had first begun. It's way too late, I have loved you too long to let you go. I loved you right, I loved you wrong. Maybe in Montana it won't be too long before you know I loved you right, I loved you wrong.
That's Anna Rudolph. That's beautiful. Beautiful voice. I haven't heard your voice in a long time.
I know.
Beautiful.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We're we're going to get back a little later in the show and kind of explore your career and what you're doing. And we're going to start off with Gigi. Gigi, welcome.
Thank you.
You know what the coolest thing about doing this show for me is getting to research the back history on everybody that I see on a casual basis here at Artisan at the front counter, waiting on you or showing you what acrylic paint or oil paint you need, and then I actually look at your story and oh my gosh, you have a very interesting backstory.
Don't believe everything you read.
Well, let's talk a little bit about it. I read, and you don't have a website, so I kind of pieced it together from different articles that your mom was a dancer in England.
Wow, you did go back.
I did go back, and she came out and met your dad, who ran a circus?
Yeah, sort of. She was brought over with several other young women from England at the time, right after World War II.
Okay.
Who wanted to come to the States and work, and they were all, had been in theater. And my dad and his two brothers owned a circus called Mills Brothers Circus. And so these, I don't know, probably 20, 22 young women were brought over for the show to be showgirls basically, and do some of the group acts and elephant acts, and the acts actually were owned by the circus, and then separate acts are are paid for by our families.
Okay, so you grew up in a circus life. I mean, you grew up in a traveling circus?
Yeah, early on.
That's cool. I mean, so what did you do in the circus? I mean,
I was a kid, but I was thrown into the ring a few times, and was learning early on a little bit of tightrope and some acts called some aerial acts.
Okay.
Web and ladder, which are sort of like trapeze, but not as difficult. And I never wanted to be there.
You never wanted to be in the circus limelight, okay?
No, but as
you didn't have a choice, though, right?
No, I didn't have a choice.
Okay.
Not then.
You were
as soon
born
as I had a
into it.
choice, I was gone. Yeah.
Okay.
And well, it became, it was a very interesting life for me because my sister was older, so she was, and she always wanted to be in circus, so she was working a little more. And so I'm, 3, 4, 5 years old, and everybody else is working, and what am I doing by myself? I'm in with the elephants.
Okay.
And there's nobody watching.
That's dangerous, isn't it? I mean,
Well,
3 or 4, I wouldn't put my grandkids in with elephants.
Well, there's nobody. Well, that's the thing is, everybody's working, so there's nobody to watch.
Okay, so were you crawling on the elephants and doing
No. Well, when I was 5, I remember I would go in and sleep with Burma. I would go in because it was, back then there was just ropes, so you could just duck under a rope.
Okay.
And there weren't cages or no locks, and so it was easy for me to. There was companionship there.
Okay,
and so,
and you're into animal companionship because we have
Right,
Bird,
Bird
your
dog,
dog,
right.
right here on our little round rug. So every time you come into the store, pretty much you had your dog.
With me.
So you're definitely an animal person.
I am.
Okay, and then let's progress. So you were in the circus, and then you got into, I was looking at some of your background, it looks like you didn't major in art when you went to school.
No, I was a dancer. I came from a performing arts family,
Okay.
and was put into ballet when I was 6 years old, and I was good at that. And within families, if you come from a family of lawyers, you sort of get on track to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And so I was in performing arts for a lot of years, and that's where I went to school. I went to school for performing arts, and my master's is in choreography. At the same time I was getting my master's, I was starting to paint back then.
What was your goal in getting in choreography? Curious.
By that time I wanted a degree in fine art.
So you were already you were drawing, you were doing all that stuff.
I was drawing and painting, and just started selling a little bit. And so I wanted some education in fine art, but because of my undergraduate degree, I would have had to spend another year sketching apples.
Hold that thought. We are recording from Artisan. This is Art Fusion, the art music radio show, Saturday at noon, Talk 1260, KTRC, Santa Fe News Talk Leader. We're with musician Anna Rudolph and Gigi Mills. We'll be right back. Hang on. And we are recording live from Artisan. This is Art Fusion, the art music radio show, Saturday at noon, Talk 1260 AM, KTRC, Santa Fe News Talk Leader. We heard a beautiful song from Anna Rudolph, and we're going to get back with her a little later in the show. She's going to play some more live music. We were talking with Gigi Mills, who I've known in Artisan for a couple years here coming in, and we were exploring your circus career, but I want to catapult out of that. So you slept with elephants, you did all that stuff,
Well,
and you had a performing family, you got into choreography. How did you get into art?
So I wanted a degree in fine art, but because my undergraduate degree had gone, I had to spend time doing things that I'd already been doing, basically.
Okay.
So, and I love dance. And choreography is basically the study of spatial relationships. You're just working with live bodies.
Okay.
So I never got color theory, and I'm actually glad for that now. And I'm pretty much a gray painter anyway. I have a great palette. So how did you break into the art scene? Because it's not easy to break into the art scene. And I think I have a clue. You were working in the flea market. I was in the flea market. I started selling my stuff. I was divorced.
Okay.
And I had another dog at the time, and just needed to
support
feed
your dog.
us. Yeah, feed myself, feed my dog. And I was trying to sell antiques at the same time while I was painting, and but just working on things. And I didn't have the I didn't think that anything was worth selling or showing to anybody yet, except for close friends.
So you had a booth out at the
I had a booth selling like
flea
vintage
market?
stuff and antiques that I could not sell any of it to save my life.
Okay.
And and
this
finally,
is what you're doing for a living.
Yes.
Okay.
And trying to teach myself to paint. And one day I finished a piece and I thought, God, I think that one's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I took it out there, and it wasn't framed. I just had my car. I took it out, set it at the, just set it in the dirt. And not within 2 minutes, a woman came along. She said, "How much do you want for that?" And I went, $500. She wrote me a check. I went, "Oh my God." Oh my God!
There's probably 1,000 artists out in Radio Land drooling right now.
Where are you going? Come here, baby.
Sounds like a dream, to put a piece down in your first piece and sell it for $500.
And I had no business asking $500 for anything.
You didn't think, but obviously it was worth $500 to her. She would have pulled her checkbook.
Yeah, but after that, I started bringing a few pieces out, and I dropped the prices that were then like $50 and $100. And I think I spent 2 summers, maybe 3 summers out at the flea market.
Selling art
selling
and
art.
antiques.
No, the antiques went away.
Okay, so you were totally, so you got out of that and you were just selling your art out.
Yeah, and one day, my last summer there, a woman walked in my booth, and it's hard out there, and you could sit for, weeks and not sell anything. And she walked in my booth, and she bought everything except one piece.
Wow.
And I think that came to like $3,000, so I was in heaven.
Yeah.
And she left the booth, and she turned around and she said, "You are a little gold mine."
Really?
And I think that just that gave me the, I don't know what's the word.
It gave you the confidence that you can actually do this for a living, and this. I'm just curious, because this whole Art Fusion started with how many customers that come into Artisan that are visual artists and musicians. It's really interesting that you have a dance background, because I think dance is very similar to music. I enjoy dancing as much as I enjoy playing the keyboards, and it's a very similar process, and it sounds like you just kind of allowed yourself to be an artist with your dance, and then allowed yourself to kind of be a visual artist, it's just kind of amazing to me that you're self-taught and have gotten to the level that you're at. And you're just following your gut.
I am just following my gut. And it's scary sometimes. It's a little, it's scary to do that. And I don't think I've had regular jobs for maybe 3 to 6 months at a time, early on.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't last very long at them. And so I've just been, lucky, blessed. And I work really hard. I paint every day. I work every day.
So what, just exploring your schedule, you get up, is there any type of thing that gets you in the mood to paint? Coffee?
Gotta pay the bills, baby.
Okay. And I read something really interesting about you, because a lot of artists aren't their best critics, but I read that you throw away a lot of your paintings too, which is it's
I destroy a lot. I don't destroy as much as I used to, and I think I think we have to judge our work. I think that I know I do. I have to judge it, and so it doesn't leave my studio unless I think it's good enough. There have been a couple in the far gone past where one or two I've sold, and I know they're going to come back to haunt me someday. I just know it.
People might love them, you know.
Well, one showed up at auction about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And I don't know how he got it. Somebody stole it out of my trash because I was already destroying it.
Really?
And I had torn up part of it, but he cut it up and sort of cropped it, and then wanted to know, and my signature was on the back. Anyhow, I had to cop to it that this was mine, but I tried to buy it back from him, and he wouldn't sell it back to me.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was terrible.
That's not cool. So how did you get from the flea market? I was kind of exploring your career a little bit. You had a gallery at one point.
Yeah, I still have. I have galleries now, but
you have galleries that show your work.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's why I don't have a website, because I just don't have the time to deal with it. Or
What galleries show your work?
In town here, GF Contemporary.
Okay.
That's at 707 Canyon.
It's a great gallery.
And yeah, it's a beautiful gallery. And I was with Deborah across the street. She was one of my very early galleries. Not my first. She was actually my second gallery. That was Jacoby Fritz, because she owns two up there.
Okay.
And so that was early on. That was almost right after the flea market. I had one in between, before her. And they found me out at the flea market.
Oh, really? So just getting out there, having your art displayed, being out in the public. Is that how you got in the galleries?
That's how I got my first gallery, yeah.
Because we get asked all the time, there's so many artists that come in here that are trying to get in galleries and just trying to make that connection. It's not an easy thing in Santa Fe. There's a lot of galleries, but there's sure a lot of artists.
There are a lot of artists, and you need to really go around and look at galleries and see if there are a lot of artists who go into galleries and their work's just not going to fit in there.
Yeah.
So you are wasting your time.
And you do real well in New Orleans too, don't you?
Yeah, I have Gallery Orange in New Orleans, and a place. It's more of a design gallery in Dallas called Blueprint, the Blueprint Store.
Okay.
And I'm just starting with a place in Tulsa. They don't have anything yet.
How did you get into New Orleans? Because I was curious, because there was a lot of artists complaining about the art market here. Facebook.
Yeah.
They found you on Facebook?
Well, I found her. A friend of mine was with her. And there are actually several artists here in Santa Fe who are with Gallery Orange.
Okay.
That I didn't know beforehand. So I saw a post from a friend on Facebook that was with Gallery Orange, and I thought, my work will do really well in New Orleans.
And how is that as an art market?
So I contacted her and said, I think that you do really well with my work. And she looked at me and she said, oh yeah, I was out there and I really love your work, but it's, I'm really looking for more color. And I said, okay, but think about it, because it's, it's pretty decent work and people like it.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, well send me, 5 or 6 pieces. And I did, and then she sold a couple, and then I sent her more. She had, I think, 17 pieces, and about 3 months after I sent her the work, she called me, she said, one morning, and she said, I just sold 16 of your pieces.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
She said, can you send me some more? And so that was about 6 years ago.
I actually remember that, because I remember you buying a bunch of paint here, and it was, so many artists were complaining how slow it was in Santa Fe. I said, and I didn't want to be facetious, but why are you buying so much paint? I said, well, I have a gallery in New Orleans, and they're just selling the heck out of it.
It's a good market. It's a pretty good market.
That's cool to diversify like that.
I mean, it's up and, it's up and down, and the hurricane month was a little scary.
I'm sure. We're with Gigi Mills. We're going to get back with her, and then we're going to get another song this next time with Anna Rudolph. So you're listening to Art Fusion, the art and music radio show, Saturday at noon, Talk 1260 AM, KTRC, Santa Fe News Talk Leader. This is being recorded live at Artisan on Cerritos Road. We'll be right back. Hang on. You are listening to Art Fusion, the art music radio show, Saturday at noon, Talk 1260 AM, KTRC Santa Fe News Talk Leader. We were talking with Gigi Mills about her career and how she grew up in a circus and was a choreography major and then started painting and got discovered out at the flea market, and her career has just taken off. She's in galleries in New Orleans and Dallas and here and where else are you going with your art, Gigi? Like you paint every day? Is that a practice?
I do. I'm trying to take Sundays off now, or at least a half day, because you gotta have some fun. And but I'm looking towards Europe. I'm looking towards Paris, and I was invited by China. I had a show in China.
You did? How did that come about?
The Chinese government invited me.
How did the Chinese government find you?
It was a Twin City thing with Santa Fe,
okay.
And so through our arts council.
And you actually went over there?
Yeah.
And had a show in China?
In China, yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
In a town called Zhangjiajie, and it's in the Hunan province. It's quite beautiful. And China, amidst all of their problems, if they invite you, you go. They pay for everything, and they really do roll out. They literally rolled out the red carpet.
There's a Taos artist, Kevin McPherson, that fell in love with China, and now you can't even find him in Taos. He's over in China all the time doing workshops and painting and stuff.
It's really, I like it in so many places. The people are just extraordinary. So there's that, and then I had a show in the south of France. That was back in 2010 or 11 now, I can't remember. But I'd like to do, I'm collected all over the world, but I'd like to go somewhere else and work for a while. I don't, because of the bird, I don't want to be gone too long right now.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to look into trading studio spaces.
Just to get out, get a new, fresh perspective, and just some new adventure.
Yeah, it informs you wherever you are, and my work comes from my life. It's all about my life.
Let's talk a little bit about your work, because I noticed you were influenced by Milton Avery, right?
I'm influenced by a lot of dead guys.
Okay.
Avery's one of them, Brock, Marston Hartley.
You studied them to learn how to paint? I'm just wondering, because like as a musician, a lot of times if you like James Taylor, you play a lot of James Taylor and you kind of get that vibe going on, and then you develop your own style. Is that similar to what you were doing?
Yes, on an not really conscious level,
okay.
But yes, that is what you do. And because I'm self-trained, and the job that I had back when I was just starting to learn to paint, I was going to all the great museums because I was traveling around the country. So I got a little bored with shopping, so I started going to museums and just looking at really, really great work in person.
And that was influencing where your art career was going to take you.
And I adore Avery. I've certainly found my own way and moved along.
Your work's different than his. I wasn't familiar with his work, and I pulled it up and took a look at it. And I can see where the influence came from, but you definitely have your own style, and you don't seem to be limited to what you're painting. There's landscape. I could never guess what you're going to paint, because it's like there's no way to guess what your subject matter is.
I never know what it is either. But it comes directly from my life. It comes from conversations. It comes from where's the bird? Oh, okay.
The dog is in the store. I guarantee you, he's over there. He's being pet by our other bird.
For instance, the woman who owns Gallery Orange sent me these incredible photographs of a storm that was in The Hague last January, February.
Yeah.
And there were people on the beach, but the storm had stranded hundreds of thousands of starfish on the beach.
Wow.
And that image, I just couldn't get out of my head. So now I've probably done 4 or 5 of these starfish pieces, which is, it's dark and it's tragic, but it's also about life. And there's something magical about literally hundreds of thousands of starfish laying on the beach.
Anna, where do you get your inspiration from songwriting? Where does that come from? I mean, Gigi's telling it, you know, dead starfish on the beach. And I mean, your song about Montana, where did that come from?
You know, I don't ever, I tried it. It doesn't work for me. Sit down and go, oh, I'm going to write a song about this, or I'm going to write a song about that, or this happened yesterday, let that influence me today. That just never happens with me. I just have this little voice that says, get a pencil and paper, and here's a song. And
wow.
So I never know. Sometimes it is about my life. Sometimes it's about the lives of those people around me. Sometimes I think I'm just channeling somebody from Louisiana or some poor woman somewhere or something. So
could you give us another song? You got another song in you there?
Yeah, I'd be glad to.
Okay, what's this song about?
This is one that's a little bit diffuse. So, which I always like getting these kind of songs, because a straight storyline is to me a little less interesting than something that everybody can make their own story around it.
Let's go for it.
So that's what this one is. It's called For Katya.
Cool.
What if that angel
That is Anna Rudolph. This is Art Fusion, the art music radio show, Saturday at noon, Talk 1260 AM, KTRC, Santa Fe News Talk Leader. We're going to be right back. Hang on. And we are back recording live from Artisan on Cerrillos Road. This is Art Fusion, the art music radio show, Saturday at noon, Talk 1260, KTRC, Santa Fe News Talk Leader. We were talking with Gigi Mills, and we just heard another beautiful song from Anna Rudolph, but I want to finish with Gigi. Where's your work going? What is your work? What are you expressing?
Well, you mentioned some of my influences, and I think what I'm really after the most essential thing. So I will often put a lot on the canvas and then take out almost all of it.
Okay.
Don't always work that way. Sometimes it starts with very little on there and it stays that way. But I'm really about reduction and I'm kind of going that way with my life too.
Okay.
About let's get to what's really important here. And if there's too much noise in a piece, I'm not interested. And your work is so beautiful and quiet and simple, but we know that simple is not easy. In fact, it's more difficult than throwing in everything into the dish.
I have to say, I saw you, when I found out that we were going to be together on this show, I looked up your work on the internet, and I was just blown away because I love Milton Avery, and I love your style and the simplicity of it. So I just really felt so attracted to your work. It's just
well, I think that's
awesome.
where the Avery thing comes from, and I don't want to go too far down that path, but it is that simplicity. Yeah. And but he well, anyhow, I won't go there. But it's about being a little bit quiet.
Yeah.
And emotion. There's always emotion. There's almost always an emotional aspect to my work, and I think that's why it's successful. There is an attraction for people, and I'm not even sure what it is, and I'm not sure I want to even look that closely.
Well, your work is diverse too. There's not like one subject matter that you're beaten to death. Everything is different. So I mean, I looked at it as like everything's incredible. You know,
Thank
it's
you.
like a new thought. And I'd like to explore a little bit about what you're doing in Albuquerque. And I know you got a couple albums out here, and you recorded with Larry Mitchell, who's like a hero of everybody in New Mexico. But I want to get another song. You can make sure. Let's hear a song, and then we'll talk a little bit about your career.
that sounds good. I've got one here called "I Feel the Heat." Okay, thank you. So this is a little kind of bluesy song. If you go out to play, they like you to play a little faster song. So luckily, I've come up with a few of them anyway.
I feel the heat. I'm on the back roads, looking for that moving line. I feel the heat. I'm on the back roads, looking for that moving line. I never did nothing wrong, just hanging on to what is mine. To cruises to Amarillo, I stayed away for a day or two. I went to cruises to Amarillo, I stayed away for a day or two. I gave them time for figuring all the things I didn't do. Crossroads, I'm in the crosshairs. I need some help to get my plan in sight. I think that I'll go on to Tupelo and need a place where I can think tonight. A brief vacation, some consternation. I hope they do forget it all. Vacation, small consolation. I hope they do forget it all. drive on because I'm sure they'll come to call. I'm at the crossroads, I'm in the crosshairs. I need some help to get my plan in sight. Don't know where I go if you're not in Tupelo. I'll be back on the road tonight. I feel the heat, I'm on the back roads, looking for that moving line. I feel the heat, I'm on the back roads, heading for that moving line. I never did nothing wrong, just hanging on to what is mine.
Woo! Anna Rudolph. That song reminds me like it needs some Baptist back singers just screaming in the background. Yeah!
I know. I've written
That's
a couple
cool.
of gospel-y kind of songs. I'm always thinking it would be better if I was backed by some kind of gospel choir or something.
Nice. Your voice sounds beautiful.
Oh,
Songwriting's great too.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
So we met years ago at New Mexico Music Awards, and it looks like you put 2 albums down here. So you've been busy. I mean, I've followed you on Facebook. You're playing a lot. You performed with Larry Mitchell. That must have been a thrill.
Yeah, that was a big thrill. We played together at Molly's one evening, and Larry is the producer on a new CD that will be out in about 2 weeks for me.
So you're working on the new one besides
Yeah.
these 2.
Yeah.
And these, how far did these go back? Are these like,
I think the Alter Ego one, that was my first one, and I think that came out about 2 years ago. And then last year for the New Mexico Music Awards, I put out this other it's a little 7-song EP.
so the seriousness with your music and taking it and putting it on the forefront has been rather recent. You're talking probably the last 5 years or so?
Yeah, I didn't start writing music or playing the guitar or singing or anything until 5 years ago.
You didn't learn to play guitar until 5 years ago?
Well, to clarify that, I played in high school and I played a little bit in college, and then I essentially put the guitar down for like 30
Families?
something years.
Being mom or what?
I don't know. I just wasn't all that interested in music. I
Wow.
didn't go hear people play. I didn't play or sing. I was just kind of busy. I was in school. I was
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
just had a whole different life.
Because you're at a very good level. I mean, for
wow.
how fast you're progressing is incredible. I mean, seriously.
It's
I
not
mean,
fast enough. I'm getting old. It's like
We're all
okay,
getting old at the same
speed
rate,
this
so
up.
you're progressing fast. Well, so what is this new album that you're coming out with?
Like my other ones, it's a little bit eclectic and it's hard to put into a specific genre. It has Maybe in Montana in it.
Okay. Where are you recording this at?
We recorded this at my house.
Nice.
So
With Larry Mitchell?
yeah, Larry Mitchell. Larry has a portable recording studio, and
How
so
cool.
he just brought it into our music room, and we just set up and.
I personally like the rough, real, raw stuff. To me, as a musician, it's just like if you want something real,
Yeah.
Anybody can buy tracks now from anywhere on the internet and bring in anybody. But when you actually when it's real, there's a difference.
Yeah, it was very real. These other CDs that I did, I did in a professional studio, and Don Halliburton was the producer, and he did an amazing job on those. But I wanted something that was a little more raw, a little less produced, and boy, I got it. And I love the songs that are on the CD. So
Well,
I'm
you
really
are
excited
sounding
about it.
incredible. You're on the fast track, I tell you. If this is all the last 5 years and you're on your 3rd CD, you're really music is just really in the forefront now, and I'm so happy for you.
Oh, thanks.
And I want to thank our guest, Gigi Mills. Thank you, Gigi, for sharing all your wisdom, and it's great to get to know you better. Next week, we're going to have Matt Mitchell as our visual artist, and one of my favorite keyboard players who inspires me all the time, Zenobia, who was in the original production of Hair. So This is Art Fusion, the art and music radio show, Saturday at noon, Talk 1260, KTRC, Santa Fe News Talk Leader. We'll be back next Saturday at noon.